Hello, everybody, and welcome back to SportsPoint, your favorite sports show here at the UWSP campus. Wow, it's been a very long time. What a fantastic winter break it was. Hopefully you had a great break, and I hope you're having a great first couple weeks to your new classes. Like I said, welcome back to SportsPoint. My name is Frankie Breit. We've got so much to talk about, so much to break down from the last month, and as always, joining me, Brody and Liam. Brody Kupsky, Liam Statz. Welcome back to SportsPoint. How are we doing? How was break?
It's good to be back, and after this past weekend, I feel like I aged like 20 years, but we're feeling good.
And we'll get into that. It was a fantastic weekend for Pointers hockey at the end.
At the end.
Kind of a rocky start, but we'll talk about it. Liam, how you doing?
Well, it was a very long break and one that I feel like I should still be on right now.
Still a little sleepy.
What? No.
No.
Certainly
Up at
not.
7 a.m. going to class, feeling good.
Certainly
Oh,
not.
man, and I'm so looking forward to everything that's happening today.
Well, nonetheless, we thank you for being here. Welcome back to SportsPoint. We're going to do things, as we always do, in order with our segments, and we're going to talk about everything you want us to talk about. We've been dying to talk about. A couple things we have not on the script. The Brewers signed a new first baseman. Fantastic. We'll also get a couple other headliners out of the way before we break them down later on. The Bucks fired their head coach, Adrian Griffin, and have hired a new coach. You all know who it is. We'll get to it. And the Packers were eliminated in the playoffs. But we'll get into that because nobody expected us to even be there, and that's what made this season so fun. Guys, let's open up the show with Crowning Champions. Now, this is a segment where we highlight one player or one thing from around the sports world that each of us think is on fire right now, red hot. Brody, let's go in reverse order. Start us off.
Reverse order.
So
Crazy, right?
I'm going to highlight something in the racing world this past weekend happened. Roger Penske. So he is a car owner in IndyCar, NASCAR, and IMSA, which is the International Motorsports Association. They race sports cars. They race around the United States. They even race here in Wisconsin at Elkhart Lake. Shout out Elkhart Lake. This past weekend was a big event. The Rolex 24 down at Daytona. It's like pretty much the start of the year for sports car racing. You race 24 hours in an endurance race. Sorry, I messed that up. But he was the winning owner of that. Their car was fielded with IndyCar or Indy 500 champion Joseph Newgarden, Dane Cameron, who's been racing with Penske for a while, Felipe Nasr, who's also in sports car, and I forget the last one, last driver. They had 4 drivers race all 24 hours of the race. Wow. They ended up winning the whole thing. And for Penske, it's been a crazy run for him the last few years or so. So like I said, he had an Indy 500 champion in Joseph Newgarden, winning 2 NASCAR champions the last few years with Joey Logano and
Shout out Joey Logano. Don't like him.
Ryan Blaney.
Ryan Blaney, though. We like him around here.
Got that for Christmas. Great,
Nice.
Great T-shirt. And now the Rolex 24, for the first time since 1969, he's won it. So shout out Roger Penske, probably my favorite car owner in NASCAR. So shout out to him.
Nice, Brody. Thank you so much. Love when we get to talk about NASCAR on the show. We don't talk about it often, but Brody's our guy when we
Give
get
it a
to
few weeks. We'll really be talking
We're starting
about
up
it.
soon. What, February, right?
3rd week in February.
Sweet. Liam, who you got?
Well, I got Eric Wilson. Eric Wilson is a linebacker who plays for the Packers in the divisional game. Keyshawn Nixon, our only All-Pro of the entire Packers squad, which, by the way, is
a crime.
Yes, it is.
It's a crime.
Yes, it is.
Had, what was it, like an 84-yard return, and like on the 80th yard, he fumbled the ball. Now, in that moment, I died inside, fully and completely, just hollowed out. I mean, like black smoke came out of my ears. I was just dead. And then as I watched the ball bounce away out of nowhere, from out of the frame, Eric Wilson Superman's in, literally just singing from the heavens.
Yep.
Grabs the ball and falls on it, which we didn't do anything with that drive, by the way. But that's besides the point. He gets my championship ring for that because in that moment I thought we were going to go to the Super Bowl.
I love it, Liam. I think we'll talk about it. I want to get into it, but like we lost to the 49ers. Everybody knows it, and the loss stung, right? Like it always does. But it didn't hurt me as much because I feel like there is such a bright future, and we weren't expecting to be there. But we were, so that was fantastic. But nonetheless, Eric Wilson, yes, Great pick. Love it. And I'm going to go on the opposite end for mine. And, guys, it kills me. It pains me to say this.
You don't even need to say it then.
All right, we're moving on. No, I'm kidding. I have to. Crowning champions. My champion is none other than the San Francisco 49ers. One of my least favorite teams in the NFL, but I have to get credit. I have to give credit where credit is due. They had 2 comebacks in both their playoff games to get to this year's Super Bowl. I got to tip my hat to them. Brock Purdy, I never said that he was a game manager like everyone else was, and everyone's like, oh, he's not a game manager, but I don't think he was an MVP candidate like everyone else was saying. I'm not down that road ever, but I just think he's a more athletic Kirk Cousins.
The only reason he's in the position he is right now.
Yeah.
This is no disrespect to him because, he's a better quarterback than I am ever going to be in my entire life.
Mm-hmm.
The only reason he's had the success is because there's a team around him full of generational talents.
Yep.
And I need people to understand that it's not him. He's a good quarterback, sure, but the only reason he's doing this is because it's George Kittle.
But I don't think it's just that. Even if you put a quarterback in there that, maybe you just sign off the street, I don't think it's just, him leading the team to victory. It's Brock Purdy also, using his knowledge of, playing in college and playing at this level, using the best of his ability to lead this team. Because you can't just put the best quarterback on the best team and expect them to all work together. He was working with them, last season when he was thrown in to play. He was under Jimmy Garoppolo, and I believe there was another quarterback before him. But
Trey Lance was over there.
That's right, Trey Lance before he got traded. So
yeah, it takes a lot to bring a team back 24-7 and outscore the other team 27-7 in the second half. But what kind of season would Bryce Young have had, first overall pick, if he was on the Niners? I think it would have been exponentially better because of that team around him. So obviously, I'm giving credit to Brock Purdy, but take it with a grain of salt. That's all I'm saying. But congratulations to the 49ers. I still don't love you guys all that much. The 3-Point Try Campus Roundup is up next. This is a segment where we highlight one aspect of sports here at the WSP campus. And just like last semester, guys, this segment is sponsored by Point Beer. Now, I'm going to read the card because we didn't talk about it for a month. The Stevens Point Brewery brings you a variety of gourmet sodas to indulge in while watching your favorite sports teams. Locally made in Stevens Point, each flavor is handcrafted in small batches with the purest water and 100% real sugar. Their flavors include black cherry cream, kitty cocktail, grape, orange cream, vanilla cream, and root beer in regular or zero sugar. Add ice cream for the perfect post-game treat. Now you can find these products statewide in local stores near you in the state of Wisconsin, such as Walmart, Quick Trip, or Festival Foods. Now, as we are in a new month, you guys, the month of January, we're just about finishing up January, so we're not going to have this one flavor for long. But this flavor of the month is root beer. A fan favorite. Made with 100% real sugar, Point Premium Root Beer is handcrafted in small batches with the purest water, genuine Wisconsin honey, and all-natural vanilla. This gold medal winning recipe is freshly delicious, rich, creamy, and caffeine-free, giving it a time-honored traditional draft root beer taste. Now, it is available in both bottles and cans. We have it in our bottles here today. Liam already cracked his open. He's excited to drink it. I totally understand. I'm going to crack mine open. Fantastic. I can't open it, you guys.
yeah, when it gets cold, it just
This is embarrassing. I did it.
doesn't.
I had switched.
I had to have Keaton open mine, don't worry.
He's a big guy. Keaton lifts, man. He's insane. Root beer, I've had this one before. I love it. I back it. Thank you, Point Brewery, for your sponsorship. We love your soda. Let's move on. ASMR. All right, you guys, the 3-Point Campus Try. My thing is going to be men's volleyball. They're, fresh season, right? Knock off SNC in 4 sets. I love volleyball, y'all. I just love volleyball. I just joined intramural volleyball.
It's a lot of fun.
So we'll see how it goes. What do you mean, oh no?
Because I work for intramurals, Frankie.
I don't see you while you're at work?
See you
It's
more
so
times.
Can I
for
get
you,
some?
dude.
Can I get some biased calls?
I don't.
Dude,
we don't
I tried getting bias calls from him. It did not work. So
But
nothing from me.
correct me if I'm wrong. Men's volleyball is kind of fresh to campus here.
Yes,
Oh yeah, this
actually.
is their first year.
Right. And St. Norbert College.
Isn't Henry on there?
I have a good buddy on that team.
Nice, very cool. St. Norbert College is kind of a rival to Stevens Point in kind of many sports, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, like hockey, and we played them in football every year.
Speaking of which, that means this year across 5 different sports, the Pointers have beat St. Norbert.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, yeah, it's huge to see the men's volleyball team knock off St. Norbert College. Great job. Over to you guys. Liam, what do you have?
All right, well, what do you think I have, Frankie? Take a wild
Oh,
stab.
I don't know. Maybe the
That's a
heroic
good question.
Pointers hockey team victory
All right.
on Saturday night.
Well, I have more than just that, because it's been a minute since I've gotten to talk about campus sports here. So their men's hockey is 6-2-1 since the new year started. The first tie of the season came against your favorite team, St. John's Johnnies.
Johnnies.
That game was
Certainly something.
It was a game.
You guys are on the call for 90 FM.
Yes.
I was not back in the point yet, but continue.
It was a game. It was a hockey game that was played at KB Willard Arena.
It left Liam very disappointed.
It was so unfulfilling.
Yep.
It was also, by and large, the worst refereed game I have ever seen.
Even after this past weekend.
Genuinely. And I know
Wow.
that you might have some opinions about it. No. Okay. It was the worst
A lot
game.
of missed calls, actually.
Okay.
Dude.
A lot of missed calls.
Harrison Stewart gets up. The puck is down at the other end of the ice. He sees a St. John's player skating right next to him. This man takes a stick, cross-checks, dumps him to the ice. Nothing. That is textbook interference, and it was both ways the entire night. They just did not want to call a single thing. And I remember just sitting there on the bench as obviously you want to root for your team, but I'm just sitting there going, this is a travesty.
Yeah.
That was just it was a horrible experience. I mean, and it was a tie, so it was not even a fulfilling tie.
Tied that one, and then did they lose the following week?
Yes, because that one. I mean, I think that one was to. Oh gosh.
No, the week after they went up to River Falls, won those two games, and
Oh,
then
that's
went
correct.
to St. Norbert last week.
Yeah, we
That's
dropped that
Last
one.
week
That one in
Tuesday lost
overtime.
that in
Yeah,
OT.
yeah.
And then obviously we played a 2-game series against Stout here this weekend. The first game was
Ooh, let me tell you.
a heartbreaker. It was a very heartbreaking game. We did not manage to pull victory out of that one, 3-2. I mean, Dawson Green played one heck of a game. I was in the crowd for
did.
that one. He. This is the thing I always say is it's very hard experience to play in KB Willett. It's a very hard environment to play as an opposing goalie. He stared down all of the students in the student section, and the worst part about it is he backed it up.
Yeah. No, and Brody and I were on the call for that Friday night game and also Saturday night one through Pointer Studios and 90 FM on Saturday. But yeah, we weren't expecting that. We kind of just took
Very
a shot to the
physical.
mouth.
Very
Yeah, it was very
game.
physical
Also
both
kind
nights.
of missed a lot of calls. On that.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
was insane.
And there was a Stout player that threw a punch. It was very clear. It wasn't a swat. It wasn't a push-up. It was a very clear punch, and I thought for sure there was going to be something even just a roughing called out of it.
Yeah,
He just
yeah.
Or, somebody just pulls your guy to the ground and just shoves him to the ground.
There were,
and,
this-
that's
yeah.
just perfectly fine.
This Stout series this past weekend, they were throwing punches. There were hits to the back of the head while our guys were down. And then, pulling, everything. It was insane.
Saturday game wasn't any better. I didn't go to that one. I chose not to. I had other things I needed to do.
Well, I
shouldn't
can
have
tell
gone
you
there.
one thing. When the refs run out on the ice and
The entire crowd boos.
The entire crowd boos, and then one of the refs goes over to our crowd and starts pumping them up and waving at them, you know it's going to be a bad game.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
that
it's come on,
means
y'all.
that you're making it about you. But it looked to be more of the same Saturday night. We went
the
down
first period.
3-0 in the first period. That
it
was
was-
very hard to watch.
It was pain.
Very uneventful second period, and in the third period.
Floodgates open,
Third
baby.
period, it was the best comeback I've seen from him this season. And probably my entire time here at Point, that's the best comeback I've seen. 3 goals in the third to force overtime. And then Stout, the funniest thing they could have ever possibly chosen to do, just decided, you know what? We're tired. Time to go for a line change. Well, there's 2-point people sitting on the blue line, and it led to a Harrison Stewart 2-on-0 breakaway. Chose to take it himself. He was the hero of the overtime. And on the broadcast, all you can hear is the Stout coach going, no, no, no.
Because we immediately knew it was the wrong call, and it's at that point it's far too late.
Yep.
Yeah, I couldn't. I don't remember who was on the ice at the time.
I can tell you, it
I know
was
Stewart
Harrison
scored
Stewart,
it,
Cody
but-
Moline, and I want to say maybe David Hill. I could be wrong about that. And even Stout, they had 4 guys out on the ice at that point because they had to just quickly
Yeah.
rush down and try to stop a goal. But
Yeah.
I remember that game right before OT started. Tyler Mastenak, the goalie for Stout that night, he went over to our crowd and he was doing what the ref did before the game.
Same-
He was
yeah,
trying to
same
pump him
thing.
up, and I'm like, oh, this guy's going to lose the game. You don't do that.
It was a fantastic comeback. And so fun to watch, so fun to be in person. I highly recommend watching our stream. It's saved our YouTube channel. You can see all the calls, skip through, find the exciting moments.
Excellent camera work, by the way, from Keaton.
Keaton Waala, great cameraman.
It was excellent camera work.
Brody on the play-by-play, loved it. We were so hyped in that booth. It was so fun.
Yeah, we have only 4 regular season games left. Mm-hmm. It's 2 away, 2 home. This next weekend series is against Northland. Now, I don't want to say anything for Northland. We might be able to make a couple of points back and kind of keep our lead. Northland's currently 1-21, 1-20-ish.
Man.
They're not doing it.
They only have
year.
one win.
They only have
That's
one
all.
win.
But they have a great goaltender.
Yes.
I think leading the nation in saves.
He's
at the
got
moment.
no help. It's unfortunate.
Then, to cap it off, it's the tough one versus UW Superior Yellow Jackets here at home at KB Willard Arena both nights. That's a tough one.
We'll be there
always plays it.
on broadcast through Pointer Studios, and we'll probably partner with 90 FM for one of those nights as well, so we're excited for those. But, Liam, I feel like they needed that comeback victory. It kind of felt with
that was their first. I had it here, and I forgot to read it, but that's our first home loss in almost 1.5 years.
Yeah, exactly. And it like the St. John's game, obviously ended in a tie, and you had the 2 River Falls one, but then you dropped one to SNC. They kind of felt like they were in a lull. And you get to that Stout game, and there were so many close goals on Friday and Saturday that didn't make it inside the net.
Oh, there's at least 4 of them Friday night.
Right, yeah, and they couldn't get them to go. They kind of felt like in that scoring lull, which was kind of the backbreaker for them, but then they exploded in that third period and won in overtime, and it was exactly what they needed to head into that final stretch, so I'm very excited for them.
Absolutely. After the regular season concludes, depending on where they stand on the rankings, it'll either be, if they get first or second seed, they'll get a first-round bye.
Fantastic.
They'll play the winner of whoever wins the first round.
What's your opinion on first-round buys? Good or bad?
Good.
I think they're all right. It depends on the series. Like, it can make a difference, but also, like...
Never helped the Packers.
That's what I'm saying right now.
true.
Like, I loved heading into that wild card game, with the Cowboys. Loved it. We'll talk about it. Brody, what do you got?
So I got men's and women's basketball.
Yes, sir.
Men's team won recently against UW Platteville, number 11 UW Platteville, 65-64 on the road last Wednesday, and then won against UW River Falls, 79-77 on the road last Saturday. The Platteville game, Malik Abdul-Wahid, 16 points, and Seth Myron, 13 points. Wahid, game winner with 0.5 seconds left. It just bounced enough and bounced in to give them the game. And then in the River Falls game, Wahid with 29 points, his season high, and Darius Bolden with 14 points. So 2 big wins for them, kind of keeps them just above 500 on the season. The next game is at home. I believe this will come out Wednesday, so today at 7 p.m. Against UW Stout in Quant Fieldhouse. And then for women's, kind of the opposite. They lost to UW Platteville 68-58 and River Falls 62-45. Both were home games. On the Platteville game, Courtney Krieger 15 points, Caitlin Slowick with 11 points. In the River Falls game, Josie Nice with 9 points and Alexa Thompson with 8 points. Not a ton of scoring for them, but a lot of them scored off the bench. Just nothing double digits. And it kind of comes to a shock because it was 11-0 start to the season. But since the start of conference play in January, 2-6.
Yeah,
so looking a little rough.
Tough break.
But this game, next game is this Wednesday against a very tough UW Stout women's basketball team at 7 p.m. On the road in Menominee. So,
Yeah, nice. Well, he's a stud, man,
he has been great.
on that basketball team. Oh, man.
It's no wonder because we can actually recruit good players now. It's after our
Yeah, after that
ban.
suspension. Yeah. I'm happy that that's over,
Because what do you know? We actually have a great basketball team again.
Mm-hmm.
We're above 500, which is literally what everybody wanted them to do. So
Yeah.
I'll
Yeah.
take it.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for listening to the 3-Point Tri-Campus Roundup, sponsored by Point Brewery. Congratulations to all the sports teams here at the WSP campus. We're proud of you guys and girls. Thank you so much for all your efforts and all the entertainment you provide to us. To the NFL updates, my friends. My favorite sport, football.
Is it your favorite sport? I couldn't
Oh,
tell.
maybe.
That's crazy.
It might be. Maybe. You guys, this past weekend was a championship round of the playoffs. AFC
impressive.
Championship, NFC Championship, and in the NFC Championship, we saw the Lions take on the 49ers inside San Francisco. hopped out to a 24-7 lead. Jameson Williams was having a day. David Montgomery was having a day. Jared Goff's name was being chanted in that stadium in San Fran, or Santa Clara, rather. And then the 49ers woke up. And they put up 27 points to 7 points from the Lions in the second half. And they defeated the Lions 34-31 to end the dream for Detroit.
That's heartbreaking for them. But I will
Welcome to the club.
I'll say this: Chauncey Gardner-Johnson,
Embarrassing.
hyping up the crowd while up 20-7. Mm-hmm. You had it coming, dude. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, but you had it coming after that.
Yeah, that was
We got ahead of
that was kind of
ourselves.
a coming of age moment for the Lions. Welcome to the club of depressing NFC North losses against the 49ers. We do it every year.
Every year, man.
We're happy to have you here.
Come on in.
We're 6-4 now all time.
Yeah.
Those two 49ers and Beggars, they've met the most times out of any other team in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And now the 49ers lead that 6-4.
Yeah, Favre had the most success against the Niners. Rodgers had no success against the 49ers, which it always just felt like it was too personal for him. Like this team passed on him number 1 in 2005. And in the regular season, he always had it. But in the playoffs, he didn't.
I never understood why they just couldn't do it, man. It was
Yeah,
every
and
single
like,
year.
the argument can't be that you didn't have a defense because in 2021, that defense played the best game out of a Packers defense I've seen since 2010. Shout out Joe Barry.
Which, by the way,
Yeah. On the
We'll get to it.
AFC
We'll get to
side, Lamar could not get past Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce. Travis Kelce had, for him, a down year, but for most tight ends, a career year. But now he's playing like himself again. I think he had double-digit catches, and the Chiefs make their 4th Super Bowl in the last 6 years.
I'm so tired of the Chiefs in the Super Bowl.
Defeating the Ravens 17-0.
You may kill the idea. You may kill the man, the Patriots, but you cannot kill the idea, the Chiefs.
No, and it's just Patrick Mahomes continues to be that perfect combination of Aaron Rodgers' talent and Tom Brady's luck,
Yeah.
and is the ultimate superpower. Because that is an unreal stat. 4
You know
Super
what?
Bowls in the last 6 years, 6 championship games in the last 6 years, 6 out of 6.
Every single person I think that was not a Chiefs fan was rooting for the Ravens to be the Chiefs. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
And it's gone from where the Chiefs were like, when they faced Tom Brady, where they're all like, we got to, Tom Brady.
Everybody was rooting for the
everybody's
Chiefs.
and
Yeah.
now they're the villain.
And it's weird that I hate the 49ers as a Packers fan, but I'm rooting for them in the Super Bowl
Because of the
because I
NFC.
get tired of the Chiefs. Your fan base is beyond spoiled, and I hope they know that.
Yeah.
How fun it is to be a fan of that team if you are a fan of that team for the last 6 years.
I will say
Just
though.
want a little bit, you guys.
I will say, right before the Ravens-Chiefs game, what put me over, I was not really a big fan of the Chiefs going into the playoffs. And
It's the Travis Kelce, Justin Tucker thing.
Yep,
Yep.
Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes, kicking away Justin Tucker's, kicking tee and, throwing his helmet around.
Yeah.
Justin Tucker is a lovable man. We all love Justin
the
Tucker.
best
How
kicker in the
How
league.
can you hate Justin Tucker?
No.
And you're kicking his stuff around
He's the
and I
dude.
get it. You don't want to your guy, getting messed up from the kicker of the other team, but how can you do that to the lovable kicker, Justin Tucker?
I don't know the parameters of the situation, like who was supposed to be where, or if they're assigned to the same warm-up area. But, kicking the tee, throwing his helmet away while Justin Tucker's just like, come on. He's not doing anything to retaliate.
Yeah.
It's like,
Justin Tucker is like the NFL sweetheart, man. You can't
Yeah.
hate him. No matter
Yeah.
what no matter what he does, you just cannot hate him. He's so nice.
but nonetheless, the Super Bowl will be the Chiefs versus the 49ers. How we got there on the AFC side, the Texans took on the Browns, shellacked them in Houston. The other wild card game was the Chiefs versus the Dolphins.
Well, that was
Chiefs
also
took
a
care of
freezer.
them.
Worst.
Chiefs headed over to play the Ravens. They
No, Chiefs
took
played
care
Bills.
of them. Oh, excuse me. Yes, I meant to say that.
Bills
Took
and
care of them.
Ravens.
Houston played the Ravens, fell short to them. Am I missing a game? I'm not, right?
In the AFC side.
That should be all of them.
No, I don't think
Cool.
so.
No, it was the Bills played somebody, didn't they?
Steelers.
Steelers. Yep. Bills took out the Steelers
So
pretty
un-
convincingly.
So forgettable that you forgot it.
Yeah, exactly. It was not a memorable game. And the Ravens took care of business against Houston pretty convincingly. The Chiefs took care of the Bills, like I said. And then also the Chiefs win. On the NFC side of things, the Green Bay Packers own the Dallas Cowboys yet again at AT&T Stadium.
Oh, what a great game. What a
Dude,
great
that was
game.
insane. We have to talk about it. On the NFC side, furthermore, the Buccaneers took away the fraud Eagles. I don't know what happened to them.
The biggest and most spectacular collapse ever witnessed in the history of the NFL.
Lose the Super Bowl, come back with a vengeance, 10-0 or 10-1, whatever it was.
10-1.
And then they finished 11-6, losing 5 of their last 6.
And
then
3 of
one
those
and done
losses
in the
were
playoffs.
against 4-win teams.
They lost the
Poetry.
Cardinals. Yeah,
and the Giants.
It was a mess. I think they got rid of either one or two of their coordinators. They signed Vic Fangio as their defensive coordinator.
They fired Sirianni yet?
No, he's back for the year.
I thought for sure
I'm
they
not
were
sure.
going
I
to.
think they're moving on with their offensive coordinators too. I'm not positive. But that was the other game. The other game, Lions versus
Rams.
the Rams. Thank you. What was with the Lions' hate to Stafford?
I think
I don't
just
Absolute disrespect.
That's my point. Is because it wasn't Matthew Stafford asking for a trade.
No.
He didn't want to be traded. He was traded for the organization. He wasn't like, get me out of here.
Yeah.
It was a mutual trade.
He was your superhero.
Yeah. So then why are you as fans booing him and telling him to go home?
They
And
treated him like dirt.
They did.
and then also the Lions kind of played a little dirty that game too. Kirby Joseph,
absolutely.
a lot
he
of
got knocked out on the field.
bad hits.
Yeah,
like, on
Kirby
guys.
Joseph, I think, tore Tyler Higbee's ACL.
Yeah.
And it was a couple of dirty hits on Matt Stafford as well.
He got knocked out on the
missed calls.
field.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
He was literally out on the field, and why you as a spotter let him go back into the game after that?
It's like another Tua situation from last season. But nonetheless, the Lions get that one done. It was a very close game. The Rams put up a good fight. And then in the divisional, the Packers took on the 49ers, beat them for 58 minutes, and lost the game because they didn't win for the other two. Rob Gronkowski said that, and then the broadcast after, and that couldn't be said any better. They won for 58 minutes. They beat the 49ers for 58 minutes and couldn't get it done in the last two. The other divisional side, we saw the Lions take on the Buccaneers, you guys. The Buccaneers. And that one was close in the first half, and then the Lions kind of ran away with it later on. Baker Mayfield, my heart breaks for him. He's a great kid. He's a great quarterback.
Great season.
Great season. I think
Fantastic
he
season.
earned himself another contract with the Buccaneers. Why go anywhere else? He was a stud for you.
I agree.
What's that?
I agree.
Very much a journeyman.
He is. He
Like
is.
Joe
But I think he
Flacco,
found
yeah.
a home, And now we had the Niners take on the Lions in the NFC Championship. We were just talking about that. The Niners are going to the Super Bowl, and that's
They
the road
blew
to
a
the Super Bowl.
17-point lead. So technically, we didn't blow the worst.
So it didn't feel too
bad. All right, let's talk about the two games. Let's talk about the Cowboys game first. For the Packers, they won. What was it, like 40?
48-32.
Oh man!
Don't let that. Don't
No,
let
it
that.
was
32,
skewed. It was
48,
skewed at the end. They were up 41-16. Yep.
Yeah.
I was on a cruise while this was going on. I was in the ocean while this was happening, and my girlfriend and I had planned a couples massage months prior at 5 p.m. the first day of the cruise because it was very cheap. Right, it's the cheapest day to do it, and then
It just so happens
that after the Packers beat the Bears into the playoffs, what a run, what a season! Great job to the Packers for coming on back.
By the way,
sauce.
you have a cruise during the next. You have a massage.
Yeah, by the
during
way,
the, next
the
game.
Packers now play right in the middle of your couples massage.
So you're already stressed.
So you're like, okay, couples massage, Packer game. She's not going to be so happy about this. Call a travel agent. Can we move the massage for free? No, it's going to be like $400. Okay.
Yeah, no.
Honey, I'm going to watch the first half, and I'll meet you there. It's 14-0. And I'm like, great, I'm going to go enjoy a massage. And as I'm on the way back, I catch a glimpse of a different TV. Dontavian Wicks just scored. It's 20-0. Great, let's get a massage. I'm so happy. We're sitting in the relaxation room before the massage. Check my phone. It's 26-0. What happened? Darnell Savage, pick 6. Where'd he come from? Loved him in that game. And then after the massage was great. Check the phone. 41-16. We're going to the divisional. We knocked off the Cowboys. And then it was just a sea of.
It was stat padding. It was stat padding.
It was stat padding. LaFleur pulled the starters a little early. Had to bring him back in. Jordan Love had 157.2. Pass rating would have been 158.3. A perfect pass rating if Tucker Kraft could have caught the ball, but he dropped it in his hands, wide open. But now this cruise left from Texas. So as you can imagine, there's a lot of Cowboys fans on the cruise. And there's this big aqua theater where we were watching it, and all you was just a sea of navy blue jerseys. And then at the end, it was dead quiet.
Womp womp.
They all went to bed.
We them boys.
Yeah, we them boys.
We them
No.
boys.
It was a sensational win for the Packers, and it proved to, I think, any doubters that not only were they contenders all year, but that the future in Green Bay
Is bright.
is brighter than it has been in the last 10 years.
You know, the Packers are to the Cowboys what the 49ers are to the Packers.
Exactly.
I think we have more playoff wins now at
AT&T Stadium.
Yep,
than
AT&T Stadium is
Cowboys
kind
do.
of like the Packers' home away from home.
Lambeau South.
Thank you guys. No, and I love that. And then the Niners game ultimately happened, and I went into the Cowboys game no expectations. I was like, I'm just so proud of these guys. They're so young, they're so inexperienced, and they came together as a group, and they got it done this year. Mm-hmm. And they got through the Cowboys, and I was just so stoked for them.
They won a playoff game.
They won a playoff game with that team, and I head up into the Niners game, and I'm like, okay, you're going to lose. You know, like, let's be real.
It's still hurt.
It's been a great run. Let's enjoy this last game and move on to the offseason.
And then it looked good.
And then it looked really good. Exactly. And it was 24-17.
You know when Anders
No,
Carlson...
sorry, it was 21-17. And Anders Carlson goes on after somehow the drive died out after Aaron Jones was like 53-yard gain. We couldn't pick up another first down. No, we did. Emmanuel Wilson hurdled a man for a first down. That was an awesome play. We're going, let's score. Let's get this thing done. Let's go to the NFC Championship game. And then we died out. And it kind of felt like that almost every offensive possession, except the times they did score, they just kind of died out in the red zone or close to the red zone after moving the ball with efficiency. They had that 1 4th down spot that was short. We've kind of talked about the spot off camera where if the above angle looked like he was short, but the rest of him looked like he was kind of skewed where he was forward. But if you just kicked a field goal there and Anders misses it, it's in. And it's 24-17 when the Niners score 24-24.
We have a tie game.
But if Anders also made the other field goal, it's 27-24 when we have the ball with a minute left to try to close it out and go to the NFC Championship game. Darnell Savage had a drop pick. Keyshawn Nixon had a drop pick. Jordan Love, albeit had some like all-time season throws for himself, missed some easy ones.
To his credit, it was raining too.
Yes, very much so. That's a good point. And obviously had that first pick over the middle. And then the second terrible decision to finish out the game where he threw into triple coverage over the middle across his body, and that was a pick, and that ended the season. We hadn't seen him make that kind of decision since the Broncos game.
No, there's there's so many things that should have happened, that could have happened, that should have happened, and if you think about it, literally any one of those should haves probably meant that the Packers were going to go to the NFC Championship. Mm-hmm. The biggest one is that Anders Carlson should have made the field goal.
Yeah.
And I knew that it's something I've said. I'm going to say it for the last time because I'm sure everybody's tired of me saying it. And I said this is that we cannot let Anders Carlson get into a situation where we are going to have to rely on him to make the field goal to win the game because he is not going to make it, and he didn't.
Well, what did we do?
We
In that situation, huh?
yeah.
41-yarder, wide left.
It wasn't even close.
No, it was
at all.
a no-go from the get-go. And then you see the Niners marching down the field, and you were all going, we've seen this movie before. We've read this story. We know what's going to happen.
The magic died out.
The magic died out, and the Niners did what the Niners do, and they just stayed alive throughout the game, and they closed it out at the end. We saw it in 2021. We pretty much controlled the whole thing, though it was only like a 7 or 3-point game for the majority of the time. They closed it out with one play, that punt block. It was a touchdown, and they were right back in it. And that one hurts more to me personally because we were the 1 seed that year, and Rodgers missed Lazard 20 yards open field, middle of the field. Even had Equanimeous St. Brown open on a post to the corner, but went triple coverage to Devontae.
Because the connection.
And it's just that's the one thing I don't miss about Rodgers is the trust factor. Love will just throw it to you if you're open. Rodgers I got to go hit my guy.
Well, that's what we saw. Is every single month the Packers had a different leading person
leading
with most
receiver.
receptions. Yeah, leading receiver.
And that's what's so cool. It's such a team right now. It's such a team aspect to how they play. It doesn't matter who it is. There's somebody new every day who's the star player. Bo Melton was the first 100-yard receiver on the year. Then following that, we had Jaden Reed, 100-yard hard receiver.
Bo Melton was a practice squad member. We signed him after that game.
Yeah, Bo Melton had the touchdown in the playoff game against the Niners. He was wide open. It was a great route, albeit the safety fell over. He was going to be open anyway. I watched the film today of that play. He was going to be open. It was a fake bubble screen, and he went. It was awesome. But nonetheless, guys, we are here. We're in the offseason for the Packers. And I just want to say again, they exceeded everyone's expectations around the league. And they played arguably the best in the playoffs. PFF graded them the highest after Wild Card Weekend, and they led most statistical categories after Wild Card Weekend. I just don't think the Divisional One was our best game, but we had the opportunities to beat them. So it's unfortunate, but Jordan Love, obviously the guy. I want to shout out his new do. Got the braids in, looks styling, profiling. Love to see it. And like we said, the future is bright for years to come. Brian Gutekunst has done a stellar job of drafting players the last 2 years.
And everybody, myself included, thought he was just picking them out of the hat.
Yeah, and really Matt LaFleur was snubbed as a Coach of the Year nomination. Don't understand how he wasn't. And then obviously the team themselves, the future is so bright. But looking ahead, guys, we're going to talk about how the Packers are going to reload for the next season over the course of the next coming months. I want to take this 1 week at a time because the offseason is very long, and I want to talk about one thing every week. So let's just stick to the present right now before we start talking about free agency, resigning players, and going into the draft. So what's happened since the Niners game? Joe Barry was fired.
Yes, sir. Which is, I actually kind of felt a twinge of sadness about it.
Me too.
The reason being is because they started playing a scheme and we started winning games, and I'm like, oh crap, oh no.
Those last 4 games, including the 2 playoff games, the defense, you couldn't have asked for better, really.
Yeah.
And Joe Barry, I'm sure, is a huge part of that. And I don't know how much of the level of everything goes into the communication on the field, the youth on the field. That kind of stuff doesn't really apply to Joe Barry. Maybe he can have a smarter scheme around those guys so it's not so complicated. I don't know. But nonetheless, he's gone.
He already interviewed for the Bears, didn't he?
He interviewed for the defense coordinator position of the Bears. The Bears, again, want our leftovers. You can have him. Joe Barry, thank you for your time. I hear he's such a nice guy.
Give me Al Harris.
And I would love Al Harris. He has not been requested to be interviewed by the Packers yet.
What about Jim Leonard?
Jim Leonard it's Mike Pettin 2.0, man. I don't want him.
You don't want Jim Leonard?
He already denied the job like 2 years ago.
No, that's fair.
That's true.
So I don't see him getting interviewed or coming on in any way. But the rumor is right now, Christian Parker, Broncos defensive backs coach, is kind of an uprising star on the defensive side of things, has been offered the job by the Packers from 2 unconfirmed sources. We don't know anything for sure. We don't know if he's left without accepting it or anything like that. So we'll see what happens. We'll wait for more updates on that. And I'm also curious if they go interview like a guy like Wink Martindale.
That's what I was thinking too.
I would love to have Wink on the defensive staff, kind of leaving the Giants, coming over to the Packers. Because he's a gritty veteran as a defensive coordinator, and he knows what he's doing. You know, he can take care of a defense. I'd love to have him on the team. The Packers signed a new kicker, Jack Podlesny, kicker from Georgia. He, I think, led the SEC in scoring and was like on the All-SEC team.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
And we drafted Anders Carlson over him, so I don't really know what happened.
You know what I saw?
What's that?
I saw that when this popped, I was like, yeah, they took Anders Carlson out back behind the shed and shot him in the head.
Oh no. Yeah, dude, I feel so bad for the kid.
I do too.
He's got the biggest leg, but he can't keep it consistent on accuracy.
And it was he had terrible stats all year, man, and everybody was
he missed
like
a kick almost every game.
Yeah, and I mean you could argue that Mason Crosby didn't have the best rookie season,
but he was a little more consistent.
But he was consistent about it. I mean, Anders Carlson could go out there, make 7 for 7, and then it's like, all right, everything's on the line. Whoops, it's not even close. It's into the stands.
Most of his misses came from PATs.
Yeah,
and it's like those are the gimmies.
Yes, those are the gimmies.
And were half of them those were missing, really? Mm-hmm. So
it directly affected our chances to win games.
Yeah. Jack Podlesny obviously has all the resume points to be a good kicker in the NFL. Not sure if he was signed with a team anywhere prior. Not sure why he wasn't picked after being all SEC.
Kickers and punters really don't get drafted.
Exactly.
They get signed, which is why
don't forget the time the Packers drafted a long snapper in 2018. That was pain.
What did they actually?
Hunter Bradley. They drafted.
Oh, that's right, Hunter Bradley.
In like the 5th round, round 5. That's right. They drafted a long snapper.
And they did this why?
Great question. He was gone after like 2 or 3 years. But yeah. we have some new kicker competition in that room. I think that's a great move. And then lastly, on a little bit of updates here, Packers fired their strength and conditioning coach, Chris Gizzi, who had been there for a very long time. And this results kind of from the lasting soft tissue issues some of their players have had, like Christian Watson's hamstring never seemed to be healthy. And then Eric Stokes' hamstring, a lot of struggles there. And other than that, just I think other tweaks here and there that kind of plagued them throughout the year. So how do we feel about that?
I mean, if that's the reason, they were injured, through the training in the off season and during the season, I mean, sure, it's the right move, but it could stem from many of things. But if it is the reason, I mean, maybe it's a good move.
I mean, I understand the reasoning behind it because there were a lot of injuries that we had. I mean, there were some times in there when our injury list was like 3 pages long, and basically it was our entire team of starters at one point. So I can understand that. You really don't think about your strength and conditioning.
No, not much.
That's why people were like, "Oh, why are they letting him go?" But it's like, yeah, I mean, I kind of understand it.
Yeah.
Who are they going to pick? Like,
we'll see. I mean, they got to find somebody who knows their stuff, and I'm sure they will. But yeah, I guess I just want to end the Packers conversation just with this team could have gone 13-4.
A Texans-Packers Super Bowl in 2 years is going to be really wild to watch.
I know, I agree with you. And just looking back, the one possession games where we did have a bunch of injuries, Raiders, Broncos, Steelers, all 3 of those could have swung the other way. And then we're
the third seed.
Yeah, we're 12-5 then. So pick one more game, the other Vikings game.
Yeah, the first Vikings game.
Yeah.
Kirk Cousins.
Atlanta,
thank you, Chuck.
Oh, yeah.
Imagine they do go 13-4, and then they're playing that game. The Niners, no one's questioning why they're there. They would have proved all season. So it's just we were so close, and I'm so happy that they stuck with it. So.
The Giants too. We should have won the Giants game.
Thank you. Yep. All right, congratulations to the Packers. Thank you so much. We can't be more excited for what's to come. NBA update time, boys. Bucks. Let's talk about them. They're second in the East. They're sitting at 32-14 in the season, 3 games behind the Celtics. And most recently, they defeated the Pelicans, 141-117. Lillard and Lopez combined 50 points. Giannis had his own 30-point game. And then looking forward, the Bucks play the Trailblazers tonight on Wednesday, and the Mavericks and Jazz this coming weekend. But this is kind of the biggest talking point here. The Bucks fired their head coach. See you later, Adrian Griffin. We were all excited for you to start the year, and now that's done. And Doc Rivers is the new head coach of the Milwaukee Bucks. Who saw that coming?
So, look, when I saw this news, actually, I was walking to one of my classes, and my brother texted me, we just fired Adrian Griffin. I'm like, what? I'm like, okay.
We're 30 13.
This seems wrong. And I looked it up. I'm like, oh, we actually did. Whoa. And then I'm like, oh, well, I guess we'll go find a head coach somewhere. And, our interim John Prunty, he put up a good...
He had a pretty good game.
Yeah, he did.
And then I saw the rumors, we're going to get Doc Rivers. I'm like, oh, no. I like Doc Rivers, great regular season coach, but playoffs?
Can't do it, man. Can't do it.
Yeah, no.
Who said anything about playoffs?
I just want to win a game.
Yeah, man. He's a legend.
For the wrong reasons.
Went to Marquette.
What's Marquette?
Hey,
numbers retired there.
He's local. We'll see what happens, right? You just hope that the guys who had more of an increased role on that coaching staff prior to Doc Rivers hiring.
Honestly, give the job to Prunty.
That's what I mean. Keep their roles in the scheme building and the actual play building and design. Keep them very involved. And then Doc Rivers can kind of more, I don't know, maybe have just I'm filling the shoes and watching over while you guys are cooking.
It kind of sounds like, when monarchs put a puppet on the throne when there's people behind. You want him to be a puppet? You just want him to be there?
Maybe. If it brings us success.
I mean, okay, but Doc Rivers is like a curse. So if he's there, he's going to seep into it.
You're right.
He's got one ring, and that was with, a Big Three squad back in 2008, and that's long gone. I mean, that's 16 years ago. That's just way too long.
Talking with Keaton about it, and he was mentioning how Jay Crowder said that prior to Adrian Griffin, it kind of felt like things were run like a country club. And then things were way more loose when Adrian Griffin came around. So you wonder what changed. What kind of philosophy and culture changed
that
throughout
they
the
did.
year?
Didn't you hear that they did? He lost the locker room. I think
After the
Right.
in-season tournament, they kind of lost. Like he kind of lost the locker room because they weren't happy about how the result went, and the defense wasn't really that great all season.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it just stems from their loss in the in-season tournament, and then the defense giving up. I mean, if you're giving up 114 points to the worst team in the NBA and making it a close game, I mean it's done. You're done.
Keaton just said they fired their assistant head coach as well prior to that. Keaton, what was his name? I did not hear this. Okay, so apparently his assistant head coach got in the fight with Adrian Griffin,
No, they'll do it.
and they fired him. And I think he probably was a player's coach, and they got rid of him. So that'll do it. That'll lose the locker room pretty quick. So
good job.
but yeah, Doc Rivers is over there now. That's pretty cool. We'll see what happens.
Makes his
I suppose.
debut against the Nuggets on Monday.
I'll be in the past.
Yeah, it'll
by
be in the
now,
past.
So we'll be in the second game of Doc Rivers by today. But last thing on the NBA related to the Bucks, I saw this on Instagram. 3 players voted Thanasis Antetokounmpo to the All-Star game. Who
Yes.
agrees? I mean, let's get him in there.
All-star cheerleader.
No,
Liam, no.
no, I'm sorry.
I'm not saying he deserves to be there, but man, it'd be awesome.
It would be
It'd be
really,
funny.
it'd
Just to say it
really
happened.
funny.
Yeah.
That would be the funniest thing ever. Thanasis, good guy, bad basketball player. However,
know, he said it.
This is the thing about all NBA players. They are closer to LeBron than I am to them.
That's very true. NHL update time, boys and girls. I'm going to do what I always do and send this one to Liam. Liam, what do you
Everything
got?
is terrible.
Oh, no.
Everything is terrible and awful.
But not for me.
Not for Frankie. But all of the good teams
Shut
are
up.
bad, and all the bad teams are good, except for the Blackhawks, who are sitting dead last.
Oh, man.
That's the funniest thing. Everybody's
Womp
like,
womp.
oh, Bedard's taking up to the Stanley Cup. Bedard's the future.
Well,
I'm
Bedard's,
like, yeah.
Jaw's a little gone.
Yeah, Bedard kind of is in like 85 different people. It was like a sack of marbles where you just around. Yeah. Oilers sitting at number 3 in the Pacific. Good for them. They brought it back. It was hard for them, and people were genuinely concerned for their safety.
16-game
was.
winning streak.
Yes, you were.
I believe
Don't
in them
lie to
the
me.
whole way through. It's why I picked them as my
Don't
favorite
lie to
team
me. You
earlier
were
this
freaking
year.
out.
I said the Oilers, man, these guys.
You picked the team
Edmonton-
based on their jersey.
Edmonton's got this.
You thought their
okay?
jersey was cool. That's
They're
the only
going to the
reason.
playoffs, Liam.
Oh, okay.
They will, and they will win.
Vegas Knights sitting at number 2 in the Pacific.
What's their record?
Like 28-13.
It's a lot of games left.
Yeah, but that also means that they have. I'm pretty sure it's like 28-13. It might be 23-13. It's one of those two.
We're getting into All-Star break there, so
Yeah.
it'll.
They lose heartbreakers to the Islanders,
Oh, no.
I know that feeling.
and then they win unmemorable games. I couldn't tell you who the last opponent was because it was genuinely that unmemorable for them to play them. I think it was the Ducks.
What kind of hockey fan are you, by the way? Like, are you watch every single game?
I watch a game when I have time to because they play on.
play so much,
They,
so, like-
no, they play on the West Coast,
Oh,
so their
that'll do
games
it too.
air at
That'll do
9
it too.
o'clock.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when I can get there and I'm like, I don't have any homework to do. Otherwise, I just watch highlights. The
Gotcha,
game
gotcha.
after. I watched every single one of their Stanley Cup run. That was pretty cool.
Awesome stuff.
Don't remember it.
Vancouver.
I'm kidding.
I hate Vancouver so much because they were bad. They were always supposed to be bad. That was
now
the
they're
deal.
great.
And now they're number 1 in the entire league. Like
Wow.
it's not even just our division. which they're
33,
in the
11, and
Pacific.
5.
Yeah, 71 points.
Wow.
They're tied with Boston right now atop the NHL.
Wow.
You.
Good
Boston
for them.
sucks.
I'm sorry you don't like it, though.
Toronto, they're doing all right. They're just kind of sitting there. It's so weird to me that they're not bad, they're not good. They're just there.
That's
They-
kind of been the story
yeah.
all year.
They
And they
beat
get- and they
teams
stick
that
to-
they should, and then there's also teams that they should beat, but they still lose to. Looking at you, Islanders, losing OT 2 games in a row.
Islanders it's so weird. They're terrible, and then all of a sudden it's like, you know what?
We're the best in the game.
We're gonna
No,
play like
I mean,
prime
they're
Wayne Gretzky.
Just out of the wild card though, but it's still a team you should beat and you still lose to. And sometimes I watch those games and I'm like, all right, we're looking good. We're up 5-0, or we're down 5-0 to the Blue Jackets, which isn't great. But then we come back, force it to OT, and then proceed to lose to the Blue Jackets.
I'm
who
so
are
sorry.
Second to last in the Eastern
Hey,
Conference.
Adam Fantilli, come on.
I'm so sorry.
The
you guys.
greatest Michigan player ever born.
Like, I'm sorry,
Who cares?
but like,
They're still second last. They're
I'm
still
just-
a team they're a pushover.
I'm
Yeah.
sitting pretty. I'm just
Shut up.
I'm just happy
Shut
to
up
be
over
here,
there.
you
Well,
guys.
speaking of which, the Kraken, they're not a corpse anymore, but they're certainly not good.
Clawing their way up.
They're
Huh?
clawing their
Just
way
out
up.
of a playoff spot.
Just out of a playoff spot.
So Oilers are in a playoff spot right now.
Technically speaking, but
Yep.
we're also not even halfway through the season.
They're winning it all.
And that's all I got for the. You shut up.
Sorry. Well, let's just talk about the NCAA.
Okay,
Yeah.
Wisconsin is 4-1-1 since the new year. They tied against Lindenwood. Lindenwood has 5 wins.
I saw a video of Lindenwood's like.
They went nuts.
Their it's their
They
locker
win
room.
nuts.
Oh, that's Augustana.
Augustine, that's what it was. It was some newer team to hockey.
Out there in South Dakota.
Yeah.
South Dakota.
I'm not kidding you. It's almost like a hunting shack
You know
or like
those
an ice fishing
temporary-
shack.
You know those temporary.
college?
No,
Like,
their
their locker room.
I thought you were comparing.
You know those-
Oh no, not their college. Their college campus
You know
is
those
fine.
temporary school rooms that they
Yeah,
have?
yeah.
That's their locker room. They go
Nice.
outside in 12 feet of snow,
That's
freezing.
awesome.
I mean, it looks like
That's what I want.
the locker room like out of the 70s. It's
That's
like
the
carpeted.
opposing locker room, like at Gerke Field here.
Yes, where they had it on the field. the
Here's a tent.
Here's a tent.
It's pretty much what it is.
Without walls. It's an open tent.
They have not dropped out of the top 5 this year yet, which is pretty good.
That's awesome.
They split a conference series with Michigan. They lost 5-1 Friday against Michigan. So bad day for hockey that day. It was pretty bad. The Knights lost, the Pointers lost, and the Badgers lost. I was just not feeling it that day.
That was you were with your fraternity that night too. So right? Is that this?
Yeah, and all the fraternity brothers came out to support. And
Was that a fun night though? Still.
for legal reasons, yes. For just the fact that we watched hockey.
Nice.
And then the day after that, it looked to be more of the same. They scored 2 goals, and we scored 3 goals, and then they scored 2 goals, and that was in the first period. So it was 4-3 after the first period.
That's actually insane.
Yep, and then we scored 1 in the second, so it was tied.
Yeah.
And then they scored 1 in the third. And then we're like, okay, we're about to lose 5-4. And then we score 1. Now it's tied. It's 5-5 going into overtime.
Yep.
And in much the same fashion, Christian Fitzgerald gets on a breakaway, and he is the overtime hero. That means we are now only 2 games behind Michigan State. We held in the rank in conference standings at number 2. If we just got to catch Michigan State, we have a big game coming up against the border battle with Minnesota. The Golden
Huge.
Gophers come to Wisconsin. The last time we played them, we swept them in Minnesota. This was when they were the number 1 ranked team.
I remember that beginning of the season. Yeah.
That was some good games. Those are some great games.
Let's do it again, Liam.
Yeah, let's do it again. I will
it
be
again.
there that Friday. It'll be a whiteout. So if you're going, make sure to wear white.
You're here first, folks. Well, you probably didn't, but you heard it here. Well, that's going to wrap it up, you guys. Thank you so much for joining us here at SportsPoint. It's another fantastic episode. We're happy to be back here for the second semester and can't wait to try a new flavor of Point Soda coming up next week for the entire month. I want to tease one thing.
Uh-oh.
There might be a special guest on the show. I don't know. I'm talking to him tomorrow. We'll see what happens.
Cool.
Who wants the name?
Alex Proctor?
Should I say the name or should I keep it away?
Alex
Shout out to
Proctor?
Alex Proctor for keeping us in that game, by the way.
That guy's a
I'm
stud.
still
Love
working
that
him
guy.
over. I'm working
Alex
him over right
Proctor, goaltender for the WSP men's hockey team, might be on the show, thanks to
Might
Liam.
be. Might
We'll
be.
see.
It's-
We'll see.
it's a horrible might.
And Packers reporter Wes Hockowitz might be on the show. We'll see what happens.
Awesome.
You've got to be kidding
Thank you
me.
guys for joining
What?
us. Shout out Liam, Brody. Thanks for watching the show. We will see you next week.